Narcissists, hiding behind a perfect mask, arrogantly believe they can manipulate and control everyone. They see you, an empath, as a weak prey, easily subdued by sweet words and subtle tricks. But they're gravely mistaken. Because deep within your gentle, sensitive exterior lies a hidden strength, a resilient flame that no narcissist can extinguish. You, with your warm heart and boundless compassion, possess secret weapons that can make the narcissist regret ever crossing paths with you. Today I'll share 10 exclusive tactics, sharp counterattacks that can leave the narcissist utterly stunned. They'll be shocked by your hidden strength, your ability to turn the tables and reclaim control over your life. Join me in unveiling these secrets and exploring surprising psychological strategies that make narcissists pay for their cruel actions. They'll soon realize that an empath is far from easy prey. They are courageous warriors with unbreakable hearts and steadfast determination. Do you remember the first moment you met them? Did everything feel like a dream? The sweet compliments, the attentive gestures, the promises of a blissful future, it all swept you away like a whirlwind, making you believe you'd found your perfect match. But was it really love? Or just a carefully orchestrated love-bombing tactic that the narcissist used to manipulate you? Narcissists lack the ability to truly love because they only care about themselves. Yet they're skilled actors, feigning affection by flooding you with intense emotions, expensive gifts, and sweet promises. They will be by your side, showing constant attention, making you feel like the most important person in the world. But beware, this is just a sweet trap they set up. Their goal is to make you fall for them quickly, so they can more easily control and manipulate you. From the start, they've quietly studied you, probing for your weaknesses and hidden desires to exploit. They continually test you, placing you in difficult situations to assess if you're worthy. And when a manipulator is disguised as a family member, everything becomes even more challenging. Love and hurt intertwine, reason and emotion clash, leaving you feeling trapped in a psychological maze with no way out. Whether it's a parent, sibling, or child, a narcissistic family member carries the same inherent traits: an oversized ego, a thirst for admiration, and frequent use of manipulation to achieve their ends. But when it's someone close to you, they have an even greater advantage in exploiting your love and trust. They'll skillfully play on your emotions with lines like, "Do you know how hard I worked to raise you? I sacrificed everything for you," or "I only want what's best for you." But stay alert, behind these sweet words lie selfish motives. In their eyes, what's best often translates to whatever enhances their image or fulfills their personal ambitions. They turn affection into a double-edged sword, a mix of praise and threat. They tie their manipulative actions to love, making it difficult for you to resist. And if you dare to break free, they'll quickly switch, accusing you of ingratitude, disrespect, or tearing the family apart. Facing a narcissistic family member is an arduous and tragic battle, but it's not without solutions. I'll now introduce you to 10 strategies to confront a narcissist, forcing them to abandon their manipulative intentions and face the consequences of their selfish actions. Strategy 1. Cease contact. Narcissists rely on others' attention as the main fuel for their fragile ego. They constantly fear abandonment, being forgotten, and losing control. That's why, when they try to pull you into endless arguments or drama, the most effective response is simply to ignore them and cut off contact. Can you believe it? This will drive them mad. Ignoring them is like piercing their weak ego with a sharp arrow. Narcissists, whether they're your parents, siblings, or even your children, are inherently selfish and control-hungry. They see you as a pawn in their life, a tool to satisfy their warped ego and selfish ambitions. They will continuously manipulate you, making you feel guilty, anxious, and never good enough. They demand unconditional sacrifice, absolute obedience, and are willing to drain your energy down to the last drop. You might think that because they're family, you're obligated to endure and sacrifice. But wake up. Family ties don't justify allowing anyone, even family, to manipulate and destroy your life. You may wonder why you can't explain things or why reasoning with them doesn't work. The truth is, the more you try, the more you fall into the narcissist trap. Their oversized, distorted ego craves attention and everyone's focus. The more you react, the more you show them they can easily control you and identify your weaknesses. Sometimes the best approach is to do nothing. Cutting off contact or becoming unavailable is the optimal strategy to break free from this toxic cycle. Don't fear being labeled as ungrateful, disrespectful, or a traitor. Have the courage to set boundaries, protect yourself, and say no to unreasonable demands. Remember, narcissists never change. They'll continue to drain your energy, play the victim, and shift blame until you decide to end the game. This is your life, and you have the right to choose your own happiness. Don't let anyone, whoever they are, take away your right to live a free and peaceful life. Strategy 2. Emotional detachment. If, for any reason, cutting off contact isn't possible, what can you do? In this case, the optimal strategy is emotional detachment. A narcissist, a master manipulator, will relentlessly attack your emotional weak points. They'll accuse, insult, demean you, and even reopen your emotional wounds just to make you react. But remember, any emotional reaction you give is their victory. They understand your psychology and emotions like a skilled map reader. They know every button in your soul and won't hesitate to press them until you explode. But when you freeze your emotions, they become like puppets without strings, lost and powerless. See through their script. Every word and action is a trap. They want to provoke you, to make you angry, sad, or guilty so they can gain the upper hand. But when you stop reacting, they lose the stage to perform on. Imagine yourself as a cold machine without emotion or personal thoughts, simply functioning. Disable your emotional buttons. Take deep breaths, meditate, or simply focus on positive things. Let your indifference become a fortress that withstands all the narcissist's attacks. Finally, when they realize their manipulation efforts are futile, they'll retreat from the game. You'll emerge victorious not through fighting, but by protecting your resilient inner self. Strategy 3. Rejecting their emotions and stories. When dealing with those who manipulate emotions or construct narratives, it's crucial to stay grounded and avoid getting pulled into their tactics. They often rely on creating false emotions, using stories or seemingly sympathetic details to manipulate and control others' feelings. They won't hesitate to provide vague or conflicting information to mislead you and make you feel guilty. Rejecting their emotions and stories doesn't mean dismissing everything they say. Instead, it means remaining calm, analyzing and objectively assessing the situation. By doing this, you send a subtle message that you're not easily fooled and won't allow them to control you. This not only undermines their confidence, but also leaves them feeling powerless since their manipulation tactics are no longer effective. When they can't sway you with the victim narrative or create a false emergency, they're forced to reveal their true self, stripped of the facade. This often leaves them feeling embarrassed and even awkward when they realize you've seen through them. By refusing to be manipulated and rejecting their narrative, you establish a strong boundary, asserting that honesty and transparency are the only ways to engage with you. Strategy 4. Firmly say no to them. In the narcissist's world, they are the center of the universe, the radiant sun, while those around them are merely small planets orbiting them. They believe that all their desires and needs are valid and must be met unconditionally. Obedience from others is seen as a given, a duty, not a choice. So, when they are faced with rejection and hear the word no, their worldview collapses. Their inflated ego suffers deeply, as if a king has been dethroned. They feel insulted, betrayed, and ready to retaliate to protect their illusion of power. Saying no to a narcissist is like exposing them to a harsh light, stripping away the perfect mask they've crafted. Anger, contempt, or even vengeful actions follow as they try to hide their true weakness and inner wounds. They cannot accept that they are not the center of the universe and that they cannot control everything. A rejection acts like a slap, waking them from their illusion of omnipotence and forcing them to face a harsh truth. Strategy 5. Act differently from them. By embodying qualities like kindness, empathy, and love, traits that a narcissist can never truly understand or possess, you rise above their darkness with your own light. Narcissists often seek to pull others into a bleak world dominated by pain and harm. They try to tear down protective layers, dragging others into the negative emotions they themselves have long endured. With hearts twisted by past traumas, they want you to share in a kind of emotional tragedy, a pain without escape that they've chosen to nurture within. But when you, after all the trials and hurt they've inflicted, continue to hold on to your kindness and inner light, it deeply unsettles them. These qualities remind them of their own weaknesses, of the empty voids in their soul that nothing can fill. Your goodness not only causes them to question themselves, but also forces them into a silent confrontation with who they are, as they realize their choices have distanced them from anything sacred. While they may not change after witnessing your kindness, your resilience serves as a powerful reminder that, despite the harm they caused, you've preserved your inner integrity. This is the true strength. They can never reach a heart unchained, a spirit freed from the pain they hoped to impose. Ultimately, the best way to rise above them is to live a life of freedom, peace, and love, standing firm in a light they can never touch. Strategy 6. Surprise them. Narcissists maintain control by relying on the predictability of those around them, creating a stable facade they can manipulate and command. When you respond with an unexpected action, you puncture the carefully constructed wall of control they've built. This surprise confuses them, challenging the illusion that they're in control of everything and everyone. Imagine a man with a narcissistic partner who tries to control every aspect of his life, from his job to his friendships. One day, instead of explaining or justifying himself as usual, he calmly states he's booked tickets for a movie that evening and invites her to join if she wishes. This calm and assertive response throws her off because it's not the reaction she expected. He neither justifies nor defends, but instead creates an alternative choice. From that moment, the dynamics in the relationship begin to shift. His unexpected action is not only a response but a clear statement that he's regained autonomy and will no longer be swayed by manipulation. When you surprise a narcissist in this way, you not only shake their sense of control but also show them that they no longer hold the influence they assume. Strategy 7. Expose their true self to others. Narcissists live with a clear goal to protect and maintain a perfect public image. They invest heavily in building a charming, confident, and powerful facade, concealing the darker traits of manipulation, selfishness, and lack of empathy. Thus, when this image is damaged or exposed, it is the greatest shock to them, throwing them into panic and shame. Narcissists cannot easily accept others seeing their true nature, and when this exposure happens publicly, they react strongly to protect their reputation. One classic example is in the workplace. A narcissistic manager builds a reputation as a visionary leader who cares for their team. However, during a meeting, an employee openly shares specific instances where this manager continuously disregarded the contributions of team members and took all the credit. The manager is left flustered, struggling to maintain their perfect image in front of leadership and colleagues. This situation forces them to face the reality that their perfect facade has been cracked. Another example might be within a friend group. A narcissistic friend usually plays the good person, always appearing willing to help others. But when another friend casually shares a story about how this person secretly undermined someone else's reputation to stand out, the group begins to see their darker side. The shame hits hard as they realize everyone knows about their hidden actions, and their image among friends suffers severely. Or in a family, a narcissistic father might portray himself as an exemplary, respected parent. But when one of his children bravely speaks up to other family members about his harsh, controlling words, even abusive language, the perfect mask falls away quickly. Witnessing this reality, everyone sees the true nature of the father, and the shame and failure to conceal his real self leave him feeling completely powerless. Strategy 8. Don't allow them to shift blame. Narcissists often avoid responsibility by shifting blame to others, turning any situation to their advantage. However, when you stand firm and refuse to let them change the topic or deflect, you break their manipulation cycle. You can say directly and clearly, "This action is wrong, and you need to take responsibility for it." Then reject any attempts they make to redirect the conversation. This forces them to confront their behavior with no escape. For example, if a narcissistic friend hurts you with their words and tries to justify it by saying, "If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have acted this way," firmly respond with, "Your reaction is your decision, and that's something you need to own." In a work setting, if a narcissistic colleague makes a mistake and immediately blames other team members, assert, "This was your responsibility, and the outcome depends on you." By not allowing them to shift blame, they are forced to face the reality that their actions have consequences. Your assertiveness sends a powerful message that you are not easily manipulated. You're setting a clear boundary, preventing them from escaping responsibility and compelling them to confront their own behavior. Strategy 9. Refuse to acknowledge them. Refusing to acknowledge the narcissist is a subtle but highly effective strategy for weakening their power. Narcissists thrive on attention and validation from others. By not engaging, you're cutting off their main fuel. Through silence and maintaining distance, you create a void that confuses and even unsettles them, as all their manipulation efforts seem to lose purpose. For a narcissist, being ignored isn't merely disappointing, it's a heavy blow to their inflated ego. They are left feeling powerless, realizing that the influence they thought they had over you has vanished. While it may be difficult to remain silent in the face of their provocations or attempts to grab your attention, sticking with this cold approach empowers you. Rather than getting sucked into their emotional games, you're channeling energy back into yourself. Remember, your silence is a powerful message. You are no longer under their control. And that is what narcissists fear most, feeling powerless in front of someone who has escaped their orbit. Strategy 10. Live a happy life. To make a narcissist truly regret the hurt they've caused, there is no more effective way than proving that you can live a happy and resilient life without them. This goes beyond cutting off contact. It's about rebuilding your life, a life where you can be true to yourself, unbound by manipulation or judgment from others. Expand your circle to include genuine friends who truly love and respect you. Focus on reclaiming your inner strength and confidence, knowing that you are the central character in your story, not a side role in the drama they tried to create to control you. As they watch you move forward in a life of independence and brightness, the narcissist will have to confront a deep sense of loss. They'll realize that the power they believed they held over you has completely dissolved, shaking their misguided sense of self-worth. This is true regret, not because they loved you, but because they no longer have control over you. Your strength and success become not only a quiet revenge, but also an affirmation that your life belongs to you alone, and no one has the right to define your worth but you.